So I always take all this time and all these videos of showing you the underneath, but I never showed you the wonderful interior of the Land Rover. So I took all the floorboards out, and this is the parts that I'm going to be fixing here, is the bulkhead and everything. But anyways, the interior is pretty beat up, but the nice thing is that it's the original interior, that it actually has springs in the front seat, which later on they started putting foam in there. If you buy replacement ones, there's foam in there and it's not as comfortable. So plan is to redo all these sooner or later, or at least recover it. And these are they just kind of pop out. They're pretty simple. They're on a piece of wood with a spring and then elephant hide on top. Well, it's not real elephant hide, it's just vinyl, but anyways, that's what they call it. So it's got a middle seat and the end seat, but the back seat, I'll go around, is actually in very, very good shape. There's no cracks or nothing in it. I took the floors out again to fix. I'm going to be fixing underneath those. But then I got all my empty boxes in the back, but still got the door cards in there. And here's the front seats. They actually fold forward. There you get the whole front seat. It's a bench seat, back seat's a bench. So dash, there's an old water temperature gauge. I took the whole gauge cluster out because I'm rewiring that, and then I put all these tags on there so I know where they all go to. Has a oil pressure, water temperature. The oil pressure gauge works, the top part, but the bottom part, the water doesn't. It broke off inside the engine compartment, so that's why they have this one in there. So, turning signals. It's your plain Jane, nothing fancy. 4-speed. There's your 4-wheel drive, high and low. You can shift into your low and your high, and then this is your 4-wheel drive. You push that down and high, it becomes 4-wheel drive. So, and over there is the door pillar that's missing that I'll be replacing. But the first part I'm going to be doing is cleaning up, you can see here, this piece here, which is actually kind of important. So anyways, what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this all up and weld in new steel going across the whole inside of this first to help make this stronger in general. So whenever I start cutting these pieces off and everything, this will keep its shape as much as possible. Okay, so I'm going to take the interior out, clean up all this, take all this, and there's also like this piece here, this insulation, I'm going to take that off. So, all right, the cleanup's going to start. Okay, so I got the flaps off the front. They go around the front, and I took those out. Then there's handles that are here too that control it. So I'm going to leave the windshield wiper motors in so far. I don't think they're going to be in the way for when I'm working back here on the back part. So I'm going to leave those in for now, and then we'll see how it goes. Hopefully I'll be able to work around them. But so the hardest part's trying to get inside of this area. So at first I bought an air tool from Harbor Freight, which was actually absolutely horrible. So I ended up had to buy a new tool. This is a die grinder, kind of like a Dremel, but a lot heavier power. So now I can get into this area like this, and since I took the vent out, I can get in like this, and I can cut across like this to make and clean up the metal around here by going like this. So that I'll be able to fit inside this area with the cutter this way, going in through where the vent was. So I'm glad they make a tool like this. I didn't even know they made anything like this. So all right, I'm going to start cutting this out. I'm going to cut probably to about right here, maybe to this hole, here to here, and then weld in a piece. I'm going to do it in pieces and parts, it looks like, the whole way down. We got some holes here for the heaters and defrosters, but we're going to do this part first. I'm going to cut and clean it up at this point. Alrighty. Okay, so what I did is I cut down through here on the bulkhead here. Cut down across here, cut all the way down to here. While I was cutting this part out, I noticed that this part over here wasn't even attached all the way down to here. So I cut the whole way across, and I cut over here to kind of where this ledge is. It's right here, which is actually the back side. If you look at it like in this direction, it would be the back side of this inside here. I cut it to the back side of that, which this is actually two pieces of metal right here on top of each other. So it made it for a lot easier to weld to this part. So what I did is I just cut a piece that went from there to there, made of 18 gauge steel that I picked up locally, pretty cheap. But when I did this piece, this part, you point from up here, this part here started blowing out because there's our big rust hole right here. So I had to cut that. I cut a hole right here, and then I just put a plate right over top of it and welded around it. The welds aren't all that pretty, but I'm welding some pretty rusty metal, so I'm surprised that they're that good. But they're holding it in place. And then I measured the center part here and the center over here, like in between in the middle. Then I measured over here. I did another spot here and another spot here. And I noticed that this was far away from this part of the firewall. So I took a clamp, went through where the vent is, put it on like that, and I squeezed it until this was this, and this point, and that point, and all that point on this end were all at the same distance from the front firewall where the vent goes. So I clamped it there, and I started welding with some welds along that piece there, and then I took off the clamp, and then I just welded in the rest of it. So plan's going to be to close off this side, of course, but before that, the other side is just as bad, so we're going to move over to that side next. Okay, here we are on to the other side. That's the passenger side, that's the driver's side. So if you look here, you can see it's not even attached at all on this side. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to cut and clean up this area here again and put a piece of plate going from here to there, going across. So I know that this bulkhead's never going to be perfect. There's no way I'm going to get this perfect. There's no way I'm not that good at metalworking. But I'm going to just patch it up as best as I can to make it solid. And I could probably say that in multiple videos because this bulkhead's pretty bad, but I'm going to save it as best as I can. So, all right, I'm going to cut this out and start working on this side. Okay, now I've cut out in between this area here. You can see it's wide open now down to here, where this part's actually pretty solid right here. So I might just leave this piece just for remembrance of how it's supposed to look like. So I cut this out, and then I cut up around here. This was all rusted out as well. So I'm going to cut this off too and clean, and I'm probably going to try to get some core seal up inside there just for a rust converter. And then I'm going to make a piece to go up over and close this whole piece back in at the top. And you can see down here, I've already started, I ran out of welding gas, so I couldn't finish putting this piece in, but I'm closing the gap as I'm coming down. Closing it, put a piece right here, and then I'm going to close this piece off, and then I'll put butt up another piece to there. So then I'm just going to keep working my way down to here with more new metal. And then, as I'm doing the right hand side here, I'm also doing the left hand side, because you can see here down where the wires are, where the dash would be. I put my hand right through there. So I'm making also a piece that bridges across right here. So this is going to be going the whole length as well. So it's pretty rusty. I'm not going to say anything otherwise besides I'm just trying to save the thing as best I can. So, all right, so next step is I got new gas. I'm going to pick up some more gas, and then I'm going to weld that piece in and just work my way down. I'll give another update in a little bit. Okay, so I'm working on this part of the bulkhead on my Land Rover, and I got to make a piece to cover that. So you can see here there's a bump that goes out and then goes back in. So I just got done making a panel. I'm pretty happy how it turned out. Let's see if I can hold it on there. Oh, look at that. Fits right. Kinda. Fits right in that space. Curves right around with the window vent. Goes right onto this side as well. So I'm pretty happy. Before I weld it and make it look all horrible, I figure I'd show it what I did there. I thought it turned out pretty good. Bye. There it is, all welded in. It actually welded in very nicely. Better than I expected. Yoo-hoo! Okay, that was just some Instagram little video things that it was right before this, but I just thought it'd be fun to do, and that piece fit in there just like a glove. Alrighty, so the bulkhead at the top is done, and it looks not that great, but it's all welded and together the whole way down the line. It's been welded all in here, got patches and patches all the way down. From this is the passenger side, all the way down. And this was another, I had to put a patch in the middle right here, just so I could fill in a little bit there. A bunch of it just blew away whenever I was welding it. It was just, the metal was going away. So it is all in there. I'm very happy. It's not pretty, but hey, it's all mine. That's all I'm gonna say. So this side's done, so let's switch over to the other side. Okay, so this side's all done, patched in, patched together as best I could. And these holes here, they're the holes for the heaters. This part is back behind the dash. It's very difficult to get that weld back behind there. I had to come in through here with the gun and get in there as tight as I could. These are the bolts for the steering column. Holds the steering column in place, so I welded around those. Kept those holding the same place. This is the heater where the heat hose comes up. I don't know what that hole's for, but I left it there. It kind of worked around everything on there. So you can see the whole way down that I did back behind the bulkhead there, like did dash and everything. So, and again, I said this before, there's no way this is ever going to be perfect, and I don't plan on it being perfect, but I can't say I don't care, but it's just I don't care what anybody thinks about it. So the welds, I'm going to try to clean them up a little bit, but I just plan on priming them and probably core seal and everything, and then paint everything down. But that's it for this part of it. So the dash is done, and I did it to about right here on the ends. I stopped the same distance, about the same distance on both sides. So I ordered some new panels. I'll be going over that, but I'm going to be replacing this, the door pillars, and the footwells, both sides. So that's the really bad side over there that's missing altogether. So I'm going to start on that side first whenever all the pieces and parts come in. So, all right, thanks for watching. See you next time.